Okay.
That wasn't a lucky play. That was
Here
just
we go
good football.
with Madden 23. Jimmer's birthday extravaganza. Old school.
Hey there, rookie. Welcome to Madden NFL 23. Before we get you out on the field, let's customize your game to fit you, from your experience level and favorite team, all the way through your play style and accessibility options. And don't worry, if you ever feel like switching it up, you can always change things around in settings later.
Pro. What do you want, bro?
We make the hits, I take the hits, and now we fired up. 3, 2, 1, don't need no break. Hut 1, hut 2, give it straight, that's how I like it. And we grind it every night to make it hit, now it's exciting. See, they just getting cake, they ain't never gonna get no ice. And all we want is chips, ring fingers looking ice. My day ones here to dance at the beginning. So you know it's only right, that's how we end it. Came all the way from losing to winning. Yeah, I did it, but it ain't just me, it's the whole team. Share it with the whole team. Congratulate the whole team. Cause when you riding like we riding with each other, ain't no I in this. It's the whole team. Share it with the whole team. Congratulate the whole team. Cause when you riding like we riding with each other, ain't no I in this. See, we came up
Accessibility settings.
and we made it through them problems. Now it's God body.
They're too good. They don't need X Factor, bro.
Do it right the first time, they all try to remix. Yeah, they grinded, but we grinded different. Tell them they time is ticking, but we time a fish. Bet not leave a minute, stop it. Something like the goat off in their pocket. Old Squizzy riding with me, who gon' stop it? My day ones here to dance at the beginning. So you know it's only right, that's how we end it. Came all the way from losing to winning. Yeah, I did it, but it ain't just me.
They're playing together or against each other?
Share it with the whole team. Congratulate the whole team. Cause when you riding like we riding with each other, ain't no I.
Bro, you gotta do the NFC.
Share with the
You got Dion.
Congratulate the whole team. Cause when you riding
Dion and Randy Moss, bro.
each other, ain't no I in this.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different arrows in here. Well.
Yeah.
4 times 4. 16.
Hold up. It ain't easy breaking away or being a great. They slamming the door, I'm
16.
jumping the gate. Cause a starving stomach like being punched in the face.
Good
And
number,
an
bro.
instrumental with the layer top.
This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland, our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings, and coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football certainly is going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today, and Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. And I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loves so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football, brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
Oh God, okay. What do you think, bro? I'm feeling
One time for old times. What do you say we play some football as we are underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game? And good coverage there on special teams as he'll get him down shy of the 20.
Devin Hester.
So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
You want a shotgun fast, bro? Number.
They'll throw on first down with Favre. And that went too far in front. He couldn't reel it in. It's incomplete. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. And he played his high school ball at Jefferson High.
You're the running back.
Eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
Well, the pressure gets home, and the AFC comes up with a sack. That's big Cameron Hayward adding another sack to his career total.
All right, partner, I'm going to be Captain Obvious right here. Not the start you're looking for offensively, right? Incomplete pass followed by a sack.
And when he went down, it looked like that right ankle got turned, but thankfully he popped up okay, and they breathed a sigh of relief on that sideline. And I don't think this is the script they had in mind for their opening drive. This is 3rd and long.
Bro, it's our first time.
Now Favre.
Where are you? Who are you? Throw it!
Jesus.
And that is incomplete.
Yeah, I couldn't.
How about some applause for the defense there? They forced him to throw that one into coverage, and just like that, they're staring at a 4th down. Well done.
So on 4th down, here's the Australia native Mitch Wishnowsky to punt this one away. Back deep, 2-time Pro Bowler Dante Hall. It's a return of 5 following a punt of 42 yards. And the AFC will take over 1st and 10. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36-16-2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
And they'll get him down after a pickup of 8, 2nd and 2. Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st-round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp, actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons. He coached with the Vikings. And was there during that time. I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together. And that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock. And then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
They stay on the ground with Allen. And he edges forward, but only gets a pair of yards out of it. And it's second down. But Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course. And the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, in 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, in the NFL.
What'd you press the tag on this, bro?
Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times. And he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root. As did the expression commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players.
Quarter's over.
Madden. On offense, how about quarterback Kenny Stabler, wide receiver Cliff Branch, wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, tight end Dave Casper, to name a few. How about those great linemen he had? Center Jim Otto, guard Gene Upshaw, tackle Art Shell, all of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And guys on the defensive side of the ball, the Mad Stork himself, Ted Hendricks, Willie Brown, John Matuzak, Otis Sistrom, and Big Ben Davidson. So many great players, so many great memories.
9 yards is the pickup there, and they'll have a 2nd and 1.
Some good strong running right there, some power and some explosiveness just about got him into the end zone.
The previous run, good for 9. Here's 2nd and a yard. They'll run with that. And he is into the end zone for an AFC touchdown. Marcus Allen, a 3-yard touchdown run. And they are able to strike first here on their opening drive. And they drew up the counter there. It worked. They're glad they drew up the counter.
And a lot of times what you're trying to do is just simply get the defense moving in one direction. It doesn't take much. Even one step's enough. Get them going in one direction and then cut back against the grain and let your running back finish it off and get the work done.
Vinatieri able to tack on the PAT. And it's now a 7-0 game. And here's Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown. Here comes Devin Hester bringing it out. And no chance to get away as they'll get him down at about the 17-yard line. The NFC offense coming out here. And you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling a coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game.
Looks like we got the right side of the defense,
It'll be Sanders to begin the drive. And he'll lose yardage here.
You're
Back
going
to
backwards,
the 15. 2 yards the loss, 2nd and 12. Charles, you think about all the success that John Madden had as an NFL head coach, and he had plenty, and we talked about it, including the 10 straight winning seasons, a Super Bowl title. But like any great coach, he also suffered through a few tough losses along the way as well.
And Brandon, those tough losses came in high-stakes games because they always had such great success. Think about it this way. 6 times in his 10 years, the Raiders were knocked out near the AFL championship game or the AFC championship game. But might be a divisional round exit. That's the one that bothered him most of all. Three River Stadium, December 1972. Yes, the Immaculate Reception game. Franco Harris grabbing the ball that was deflected. Almost at his shoe tops, he picked it up and took it in for a game-winning score to give the Steelers a 13-7 victory. And partner, anyone who loves black and silver still doesn't believe that ball hit anyone in black and silver that day, and that play should never have counted.
Here's Favre to throw. And his throw's going to be incomplete. The CD, we spoke of some of the Raiders' tough playoff losses through the decade of the 70s, but for one shining season, they put it all together, and that was 1976. You remember a 13-1 regular season, a memorable playoff win over New England. They dominated the Steelers 24-7 in the AFC title game, and then a meeting with the Minnesota Vikings in Super Bowl 11.
Oh, Brandon, what a game that was down at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. A gorgeous 53-degree day, perfect for football. Raiders get out to a 16-0 lead at the half, and Clarence Davis, no relation, although I would certainly claim him, strong on the ground, 137 yards rushing. How about Freddie Blitnikoff, the MVP of that game, catching everything that came his way? Kenny Stabler running the offense with precision, and we all remember the one that sealed it. The grand old man himself, Willie Brown, with the laser-focused eyes, picking off Fran Tarkenton and taking it 75 yards for a touchdown. 32-14 the final score. Raiders had their first Super Bowl title, and we got the iconic shot of Coach Madden being lifted on the shoulder pads of his players and carried aloft as a Super Bowl champ.
So the special teams penalty cost some yardage there as they come out on 1st and 10. Here's Allen. And not a lot of daylight, not really any daylight inside, as he's going to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Brings up 2nd down. So, Charles, after that Super Bowl title in the 76 season, the Raiders again advanced to the AFC Championship game the following year, but they fell to the Denver Broncos on New Year's Day by a field goal, and that ended their chances for back-to-back titles. And then in 1978, after missing out on the playoffs in that season, John Madden, he actually stepped down as coach of the Raiders January 4th, 1979.
Yeah, and that was a surprise for the league because remember, Brandon, he coached 10 seasons in the NFL. He'd put everything he had into the Oakland Raiders, into being a head football coach, into guiding, mentoring, loving his players. And he just sort of felt like it was the right time to step away.
Didn't even tackle.
And even though he was just 42 when he left, even though there would be overtures for a return to coaching in the future, many overtures, he never returned to the sideline.
And even though he didn't, we all know his work with the NFL was far from finished, and a lot of chapters of the John Madden story were still left to be written. Now a carry for Allen. And he'll be brought down right at the 45-yard line. They do get 10 back, but still a ways to go on 4th.
He did have the touchdown run earlier, but not a heck of a lot more than that throughout this game.
No, not at all. In fact, I would say that his defense has done as good of a job on him as they have on any runner in recent memory. on is the Hall of Famer Ray Guy to punt this away on 4th down.
Punt.
And he gets it away. A directional kick going toward the sideline. And no return possible here as they angle this one out of
Take some
bounds.
deep shots, bro.
Now the NFC heading back out. Hall of Famer Randy Moss a part of this offense. And Coach Madden, boy, he always appreciated the ferociousness with which number 84 attacked the football in the air.
As Randy Moss says, just chunk it up there, dog, and I'll go get it.
And, Coach, boy, did he ever go get it. Over 15,000 receiving yards, 156 touchdowns. And how about this? From his rookie year of 1998 until 2009, those were his prime seasons, right? He led the league in touchdowns 5 times, but even more so, he showed us all how to go up and get it. Great body control. No one's ever done it better playing the ball in the air.
In motion goes the tight end.
Snap it.
On 1st down, Favre.
Oh no!
And this one nearly picked off.
So you have to go to the mark.
Surprising to see a defender of his caliber let it get away, but get away it does, and it's 2nd down.
Another incompletion there. That's 5 in a row now to start this game. He's got to take a deep breath now, step back, shake it off a little bit, trust his offensive line, and hope that his play caller dials up something that can give him a completion and get him going.
After the incomplete pass, here now is 2nd and 10. Throwing is Favre.
Oh.
They're unable to connect, but a late flag comes in. And the contact may have come too early. So a costly penalty yardage-wise as that'll move the football down to the spot of the foul.
I did.
And what the officials are looking for in these situations,
Well,
whether you're playing the man
it's low time
or
right
the
now, we
ball,
would have been
and if you're
closer.
playing the man, you get
less
a
downs,
lot less
but then we could've
leeway
kicked it to
in
field
terms
goal
of what's
because
going to
time's
happen
running
at the end of the play. But if you're looking for the football, it's less likely to draw the flag.
Post.
So the yellow flag came out, and that leads to a new set of downs for this offense. 1st and 10. To throw is Favre. It's incomplete. Took a shot, couldn't connect.
That's now 6 dropbacks, 6 incompletions. Yeah, the defense been pretty good early, but he's got to start hitting some of those throws. He's making them better than what they actually are.
Okay.
2nd and 10. Favre. Flush to his right.
Oh.
That'll be incomplete with 9 seconds now showing on the clock.
As soon as I saw him break contain and get outside, my first thought and my eyes gravitated downfield, because nowadays, most of these quarterbacks, when they do that, they want the big play downfield. They don't want to throw it short. In this case, he took the shot. It fell incomplete.
Johnson?
Back to throw again. He's going to throw one up for the end zone. And he knocks the ball away, and it falls incomplete.
There is something to a game plan with trying to keep a defense honest. With a guy with that type of speed, you do so. Send him deep, try and throw some air under it, and hope you connect downfield. On that play, they were unsuccessful.
Field goal, 65 yards. Okay.
So with 1 second left in the half, on is the field goal unit.
Oh, shank.
And this is off target to the left. Didn't get there anyway. It's coming up in the second half. We'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a very special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by Trey Mosley.
Average yards per play is -1.
What comes to mind when you hear the name Madden? Is it the coach who led the Raiders to their first Super Bowl victory? Perhaps it's the broadcaster who entertained millions of fans. Or maybe it's the video game known simply by his name. But no matter what comes to mind when you hear the name Madden, everyone thinks of one thing: football.
The core of it was football. It's the greatest game in the world. The left goes to the right goes to the left. Madden is on the field. He wants to know if it's real. John Madden goes on the shoulders of his players.
In my mind, John Madden is the most important figure in the history of professional football. Show me somebody else who did it on 3 levels the way John did it. There's nobody.
Yeah, they've sucked for a long time.
Boy, Charles, that is really well done. Coach was something else, wasn't he?
I'm reminded what Al Davis said when he was inducted coach of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Brandon. He loved the game. He loved his team. He loved the Raiders. He loved this league. And you can see it with everything he does.
No doubt. But it's quite possible, though, that now he would say, hey, enough of that. Let's play some football. The second half forthcoming from Oakland. And we will not see a return to start the half, as this will be a touchback. Now, the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush.
attack.
He hangs in the pocket and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy. He's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one...
Allen hit. He lost the football. And it's scooped up by the NFC. And his guys are going to get the football at the 23-yard line.
Oh, it's the fridge. It's the fridge.
So that is not the way you want to begin the half when you're only up by 1 score. A turnover right away.
And my guess that in the locker room, that's what the defensive coordinator of the other side was saying. We've got to find a way to get the football back for our offense. And they were able to do it.
Halfback stretch, number X.
On 1st and 10, it's Sanders.
Well, bro, where you go, bro?
And this play will be blown up. He'll lose yardage back at the 38. Call it a loss of 14 on the play.
It's
and
happening.
It'll be a 2nd and long. And yet again, this run game just continues to be completely shut off.
Completely stymied. Hey, they're trying to get some consistency, trying to find places to roam. They just haven't been there throughout this game.
Flip it, and we're going to go with the square one.
The first down play, to be frank, nothing short of awful, and now they have to deal with 2nd and very long. Another run with Sanders. And he'll take this one down to the 36. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42, he just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand,
but not close enough.
Yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
Thought that might be the goose egg breaker. Still stuck on 0.
Yeah, this is still a tight game, too. We got to keep that in mind because that miss there,
you hang your head, you let it affect you the next time you go out there, then you've really hurt your ball club. Get yourself together. You might get another opportunity, and they're going to count on you to put it through the post.
He fights forward for a modest 2-yard gain, second down.
Holding on offense? Ha!
So not a lineman, but the tight end instead this time, drawing the holding call.
And more what you're getting with tight ends are guys who are much more receiver than blocker. They may be willing, but that might not be their thing. Oftentimes, they'll be the ones getting the penalties.
So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. He gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details. But I think that we all figured when he caught it that short of the marker that the defense almost relaxed and said, we've got this covered. And then all of a sudden, space to run after the catch. And now they're screaming, somebody get him down. Fortunately, they got to him and forced the 4th down.
And no return here. Where will they spot it? They say just outside the 20-yard line.
Let's go with that X.
The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. And both of these defenses have been stifling these last few drives offensively. Just not able to get anything going. So what needs to change?
I think a lot of the guys will go back and review, so to speak, because everyone has someone assigned to how did each play work. Okay, what did we use that kind of worked for us during this game? Try and get back to some of those plays, as well as the possibility of showing something you haven't shown already in this game and trying to change things up.
We'll see if they take the advice of Mr. Davis. Play action. It's Favre. He's going to try and go deep again. And this one nearly intercepted. Boy, that would have been a great time for their first pick. But instead, it's 3rd down. As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you're talking about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him. And now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the old Madden team, his most popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too. This defense is just flat getting after it. They have not given up much of anything in the run game. Case in point right there.
And the NFC punt team out there now as he'll kick it away for the 2nd time. His first punt, 45 yards. This looks good as well. That'll be a 43-yard punt, just a single yard on the return. And they will take over 1st and 10. The AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only Tom Brady has more. There are 6 guys in the 15,000-yard receiving club. He's the only tight end in there. Tony Gonzalez, every snap, you had to know where he was because he could make plays short, medium, and long, and often put the ball in the end zone.
3 quarters complete now in the John Madden legacy game from Oakland. It's the AFC
it's
on
been a
top,
sad
and
game.
we're back to the Coliseum after this. They'll try and pound it with a big back Bettis. And he's taken down at the 43, but not before picking up the first. Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for, and it's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic as possible. He told them, call me when it's 11-on-11. And he got his wish.
Yeah, after that debut, Madden the video game continued to pick up steam through the 90s in a big way. And John himself, many will remember, was a commentator for the series for many years. And now here we are in the 2020s, and this game has sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million copies. Throwing on first down is Brady. He'll set up the screen to Marcus Allen. Room here to run. And he'll cross over out of bounds right at the 25.
Bridge.
Boy, tight game like this, fourth quarter, personal foul penalties, a no-no.
Yeah, we know the emotions are running high. The tensions are the same. Who can control them best could ultimately win it.
And he is not going to go anywhere. They're going to get to him behind the line, and that is going to get us to the 2-minute warning. So the AFC with the football as we welcome you back. They've got a second down now as they search for a way to get this one to the finish line. A run right side, it's Bettis. And he'll be brought down this time at the 5-yard line. They'll wind up getting 10 back as that sets them up for third down. They'll come to the line needing only 2 yards to gain the first here. Again, they'll run with Bettis. He didn't get the touchdown, but he did get the first down as he's tackled at the 1. It's a gain of 4 there, and it gives him a new set of downs.
I like a guy who understands the situation. I also like a guy who you look at him and you say, that looks like a guy who knows the coach is going to say, guess what? You drop this one, you'll be carrying around the training facility for an entire week.
Maybe flashback to high school or college, carrying it around campus, right?
The old gauntlet drill, right? Anyone getting the ball out while he's
And he's across for the touchdown. And in the final minute, that should just about seal it. And he certainly played a pivotal role with those 2 TDs and why they're up on the scoreboard right now.
Well, someone's all about winning, aren't they? Because he's not worried about the number. Sure, it's great to have 2 touchdowns. But the bottom line is what he's doing is contributing to their lead. He wants to continue to do so.
And here's Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown. Taken at the goal line.
Oh, God.
And only able to get this to the 19, so probably should have opted for the touchback.
Yeah, you go backwards. X.
Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. These guys definitely hoping for a better showing than their last appearance. They couldn't really even move the football much beyond the shadows of their own goalpost, Charles. We'll see if they can get a better, more sustained drive going here.
Yeah, and every team that we ever talk to says the exact same thing. When you start a drive from that deep in your own territory, the goal is a minimum of at least 2 first downs, because even if you have to punt then, you change the field position, right? You flip the field a little bit. They didn't get that done. This time they want to string together a nice drive and help themselves out.
So it's a win here for the AFC on an
Well, that
incredible
was bad.
afternoon of football and
game.
remembering the life of John Madden.
Hopefully we'll get
Before we
better.
go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
Like the flow.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.
Finish game. All right, bro. Go get all your stuff rounded up.
Time to decide how you're gonna make your Madden NFL 23 debut. Become coach once again. Feeling? Head on over to the main menu and see the full.
Never let a wishbone grow where backbone should. Belly been taking the dash on wood. 10 payments, the back ain't good. Got sense, but they act no good. Side through the lot of the starstruck. Hop in the ride and we took in the truck, couple in the truck and they all. They might say what's up when they see me around the city, but really no reason to talk much.
Maybe it will get better.
But no nice guys
But I
here.
did.